Defend yourself against DDoS attacks by hiding your true IP address with ExpressVPN, and visit my custom link expressvpn.com/ghilliemaster in the description to find out how you can get an extra 3 months free. Hey everyone, and welcome to another video here on the channel. Today I'm going to make you a Cluckin Bell Raid god. After practicing what you see in this video, you will be hitting 40-minute speedruns of this new raid like it's nothing. We're going to be covering everything you need to know to get this heist, raid, whatever you want to call it, done in as quickly as possible. So let's not waste any more time and get right into it. So before we begin the actual run, a few housekeeping things that you should note. Number 1, you always want to be using the assisted aim full aim setting. In this video, you will see me rapidly swap between targets for faster eliminations, and that is only doable if you use the assisted aim full setting, not partial. If you use partial, then you're going to have to relock onto each target one by one, which is, of course, slower. The second thing, and this doesn't really have to do with the speedrun time for the 45-minute timer per se, but just helps you spend less time in between the missions. There is an agency property located right next to the police station where these missions are started that you can purchase. However, if you do not want to move agency locations, there are also various different apartment properties in the area, and in my case, I just used the Del Perro apartment, which is just a few blocks down from the police station. And in that apartment's garage, you want to store your main vehicle that you will be using on the raid in the first garage slot, which I highly recommend to be the Hakuchu Drag. This is the vehicle that I will be using in the run and is definitely the fastest way to get it done, I think. So if you want to follow this guide step by step to a T, then you will need an HSW Hakuchu Drag. And after every prep, assuming you don't need a refill on snacks or armor, you will set your spawn location to the garage of the property you chose, or the agency if you own the closest one, and then find a new invite-only session to make the time between each mission as short as possible. And just one final thing, we will be doing the entire raid on easy mode instead of hard mode, unlike every other job in GTA Online, because you don't actually get any more money for completing the raid on hard mode. Therefore, the only bonus you would get for doing the raid on harder difficulties is more RP, which is not worth it. On easy mode, the enemies hit a lot less harder, are more inaccurate, and there are also just less enemies that spawn in general. So it's overall great for speedrunning. Getting into the missions now. For the first mission, Slush Fund, hop on your bike and head in the same route as I am here, turning on the street where the Life Invader offices are located. We're heading to location A first. When you arrive, it doesn't really matter what gun you use here, just eliminate the first couple of guys and run in. We're mostly just ignoring the enemies here. When you're inside, make sure to have grenades selected on your weapon wheel, blast the 2 enemies, and then quickly throw a grenade in the direction of the door for the 3rd guy that will spawn in on a delay and start grabbing the cash. The grenade will then blow up the delayed spawned enemy as you are grabbing the money. To throw the nade faster, simply ADS with any weapon you want and press left on the D-pad, and it will automatically throw the nade with your left hand, assuming you have it selected in your weapon wheel. When leaving the place, you can choose to take out a couple of enemies that are in your way, or you can just run past them and snack spam if you need to until you get back to your bike, and once again head in the same direction I do here. Also, while you're on your way over to location B, make sure to select your compact grenade launcher on the bike. When you arrive, we're not taking the main entrance, we are heading to this little alleyway on the other side, and on your way in, shoot the compact grenade launcher at the mule on the left hand side, and wait for the resulting explosions before driving in, and then just park your bike and head in. Inside is going to be the same exact strategy, take out the initial enemies and throw a grenade to kill the one in the back, and collect the money. And now all it's left to do is drive the bike back to the lockup for the mission completion. And as for the route here, honestly, unless you are trying to go for the world record speedrun, a faster route is only going to save you a few seconds here, but what I do is just try to take the route with the least amount of turns as possible. But the main thing you basically want to worry about is just not crashing. Moving on to Prep Mission 2, Breaking and Entering. This one requires you to steal a laptop from the pier and a hacking device from the Terabyte before ultimately stealing a whole train. The order you always want to do this in is to first head to the pier, then Terabyte, because the Terabyte is always going to be closer to the train, so you're not wasting time doubling back. Driving to the pier, I like to take the same exact route that I do for the previous prep, down the road passing by the Life Invader offices, then take a left and then a right into the pier. Now there's a bunch of different spawn points for the laptop here, but guess what? We don't care about any of them. So take out your compact rifle or any other unsuppressed weapon on your bike and just start firing it around as you drive around the gold rectangle. Eventually the target will appear on your map as a red dot, which gives away the location of the laptop because it always appears right next to where his red dot initially appears at. And every time I've done this, I found the laptop within seconds. Next, we are heading to the Terabyte. Now, there are 3 different spawn points for this Terabyte. One is going to be right here next to where you start the garbage truck prep for the Series A heist. Next possible spawn is all the way near the salvage yard and import-export garage, kind of close to the airport. And the last one is closer to the first location. It's next to the highway over here, kind of near the Benny's Mod Shop. And for this, you just need to take out your RPG and fire it at the top section of the Terabyte and kind of delay your next shot until you see the drones spawn in. This way you can kind of spawn trap them as they come out. The explosions should destroy all 3 each time, although sometimes what will happen is one will get away and you'll have to ultimately shoot it, but that's not a big deal if that's the case. And after grabbing both the laptop and hacking device, your next task will be to head to the train to steal it. You want to come in from the train tracks on your bike and make sure you have your compact grenade launcher out again. Head straight towards the back and fire 2 grenades at the 2 vehicles. And if you're really lucky, one of the enemies killed by those 2 explosions will drop the keys, but if not, you'll have to just shoot more enemies until one of them does drop the keys. And after you do pick up the keys, I like to hop back on the bike again and drive towards the front side of the train just so you don't have to run. And then just get on the train, and the final step for this mission is really easy. Basically just hold down the gas the entire time and press right on the D-pad when you enter the red circles. The enemies are not going to be able to hit you at all here, especially on easy mode, and the train just blasts all their vehicles and insta-kills them. Next up, we have concealed weapons. This mission gives you the option of choosing from 3 different weapon loadouts. We will be going with location A, which are the lowest tier weapons, but we don't care because it's the fastest one. So I take this route through the outskirts of Mir Park all the way to El Bura Heights. Then park in the middle of the 3 vehicles like I do and just start taking the enemies out. It's really right here where you realize how much more beneficial assisted aim full is compared to partial. Go over and grab the weapons, which I've always seen located next to the steps here. And for the gear, that's in the trunk of the Tornadoes parked on the street. Now, chance would tell you to check the 2 closest to where you parked first, as it's likely going to be found in one of those 2. And I've actually only ever had the gear spawn in this one in the back here, but I'm sure it can spawn in the other 2 as well. But once you have the gear and weapons, you're all done. Just get back on the bike and head to the lockup and text Vincent your choices, and the mission will be over. For the getaway vehicle prep, again, we are going to location A because you'll soon find out it doesn't really matter what getaway vehicle you take for the finale. For the route, you don't want to just follow the road. You want to head off-road at a certain point, as I do in the footage, and then get back on the road near the gas station, which is where the getaway vehicle will always be in this parked garage. Just head over to the right hand side of the building and shoot the little box to open the garage door, and then kill the 2 enemies in front of the door, ignoring everyone else in the process, and steal the vehicle. From there, head straight to the train tracks, and you can either get up that first initial incline or go around the road and go up a much less steep incline that you won't be able to overshoot at all. The train tracks are really just perfect for this prep mission and really the entire raid because they lead right to where you will store the getaway vehicle, so you just have to drive down the tracks until you get to the garage, text Vincent when you get inside, and then when you come out, you'll just have to get in that new Impaler and drive away. And that brings us to the final prep mission, Disorganized Crime. When you start this mission, assuming you've done the raid a few times and have seen every one of the 3 storage facility locations, you actually don't even have to hack the vans at all. You can just go straight to the warehouses. The 3 warehouse locations are on your screen right now. 1 is near the ammunition, and the last 2 are in the industrial area. And the way you want to go about checking each one is you'll come down the street to the ammunition location first, and if it's not that one, then you'll go down the street to the next warehouse, and if it's not that one, then you'll cut through the Frigid Factory alley, so it's a straight shot all the way until the final location. And even if you do get the last location, this will still be faster than hacking both of the vans and taking the long way to the warehouses. Inside the warehouse, we are going aggressive because that will allow you to complete this mission faster than the stealth approach. So take out the first and second guy, then rig all the trucks with sticky bombs, but do not detonate them just yet.
That way the cartel won't see you coming. Now you can blow up the trucks.
After all the trucks are rigged to blow, shoot the next group of people, starting with the guy in front of you, followed by the next 3, and the camera so that it doesn't spot any bodies. Then go ahead and grab the drill that should be on the shelf next to you at this point. And then you're just going to go ahead and start drilling the lockboxes after taking out the enemies inside, of course. Don't bother taking out the enemies in the other room if you don't need to. And even if you do get spotted here, a lot of times the enemies will just not do anything. They'll just stay there and wait for you to come out. When it comes to the drilling, it's basically just RNG until you get the key cards. Sometimes you'll get it on the first try, and sometimes you'll take like 3 different lockbox locations to find it. Once you do get that key though, just back out of the drilling process, and now is the time where you detonate the sticky bombs and run to the exit. It doesn't matter if the footage is not wiped at all. It does not matter if there are witnesses, because this is the aggressive approach. When you exit the warehouse, you will have to leave the area, but first you will need to take out a wave of enemies that chase you down. So head into the Ellis River and just stop and take out your railgun, although make sure to get a good bit away from the warehouse when you do this, and then just blast the vehicles as soon as you can spot them, and eventually the mission will end. The reason why I say you need to make sure you get far enough away before hopping off the bike is because if you don't, then you'll still have the leave the area objective on your screen, which you have to get back on the bike and drive even further away to accomplish. If you do get one of the other warehouse locations, it might be easier to just go to a road with a long straight on it instead of the Ellis River, because it is farther away from the location that I got. But I still think this is much faster than the stealth approach, where you'll have to drive a flatbed truck around 2 or so miles after leaving the lockup. Not to mention all the extra steps you have to do inside, like wiping the footage or sabotaging all the trucks individually. And now it's finale time. Now before you even start the finale, make sure you have your Hakuchi drag called in free mode before you go and start the mission. That's very, very important. You'll see why later. When the mission starts, you'll have to shoot the electric box to open up the door, then shoot the other electric box to open up the second shutter door. And it's recommended to use the first person view with the compact rifle for maximum mobility and control of your character here. It also has a 100 round mag, making it very good for the aggressive approach because you hardly have to reload. Snack and armor spam will be of utmost importance here, so keep an eye on your health as you shoot your way through the entire building, even running past some guys too if you want. In the first Coke storage, you only have to kill the armed enemy. The other 2 are scientists, so they will not try to hurt you. You can ignore them.
I still got shit on my list. Oh, Jesus.
Once you get out of the first storage area, immediately take out the 2 enemies and head into the next area to the left. In here, there will be 2 enemies to kill, after which you need to break open boxes to find the coke, which will always be either in the back left and middle from the entrance or in the back left and back right. And you should also already have a crowbar on you, so you don't need to go and find one lying around. And now we're going to make our way to the office. We do not care about the key here because it's not stealth, so we can just shoot the lock off the door with our weapon. You just gotta keep running and gunning. During the hacking portion, there are 4 computers in total, but only 3 will be needed to hack. It's going to be random which ones will be chosen. And the way the hacking device works is it will give you a signal only if you are aiming at the correct computer. If not, it will be red. So once you finish hacking one, immediately aim at another one with the device, and if it turns blue, you know that it's that one, and if not, then you know it's not going to be that one, it's going to be another one. Just doing that really quick process of elimination in your head. I will say this is the one part where the aggressive approach makes it tricky because you will have enemies harassing you while you're trying to hack, but you can just snack up or push them to the ground if you need to. It's really not that difficult, especially on easy mode. The save code will appear on your hacking device once you hack all 3 computers, so memorize that code while you run back to the office, open the safe, and then head on out.
The code to the safe should be on the hacking device. Well executed. Time to go. Time to blast your way out of there. Okay.
For the on-foot escape, really you just have to run to the garage. However, take out the 2 enemies behind the technical because they can melt you upon exiting the garage. In the getaway vehicle, drive on the tracks until you get to the fence next to the road, bust through that fence, and start slowing down while looking back once you get right out of the Paleto Bay area, and your bike should spawn directly in front of you automatically. So hop out of that slow-ass getaway car and onto the bike before making your way back onto the train tracks, and from there it's kind of just a reverse route from where we went to get the getaway vehicle from. Try to avoid getting into a line of sight on the road with the cops here. It will help you lose them much faster. Take the same route off-road, going uphill this time instead of downhill when we initially grabbed the getaway vehicle. And if you kept out of their line of sight, you should then lose them by the time you get up the hill back on the road. And for your final step, you just have to drive right back to the lockup without hitting a tree, of course. And then your speed run is complete. That should be an easy sub 40-minute completion if you do everything just as I do in this video, leaving you plenty of room for error or bad RNG along the way. Also, one thing I did forget to mention, if you do screw up badly on any of these prep missions or the finale, you can just leave and the timer will reset to when you just started the prep. It only saves the total time after you finish each prep. So if you do have to restart one of these missions, it's not the end of the world. But that's going to wrap up this speedrun guide for the Cluckin Bell Raid. If you guys enjoyed or found it helpful, feel free to leave a like as well as subscribe to my channel for more GTA Online content. If there are any other tricks that you may have found that I didn't cover in this video, feel free to drop them down below. I also want to give a huge shout out to all my channel members for your support. If you'd like to become a member for some exclusive perks, you can either use the join button or the link that's down in the description. And as always, thanks for watching and have a great day.